EC2 hands-on lab. So what we usually recommend our customers, people who are getting started on AWS, who I also consider our customers, because, well, soon they will be using our services and they will become our customers. Why not? Myself as well, when I was preparing for to learn AWS Cloud and services, I think this AWS General Immersion Day is a fantastic resource, which is publicly available. You can go ahead, click on the modules and see step-by-step implementation and how to get started. I really hope that you are able to see my screen properly and the writings here, so it's not too small, although I think okay, 110%, because based on the feedback from Prasad, he also zoomed it a little bit so people can see properly on Twitch. If you are, yes, I see. Yes, we can see well. Excellent. Thank you. All right. So the General Immersion Day, let me quickly copy and paste this to our chat. All right, here. So you can also follow along while we are going to walk through and demoing on AWS Console. So this is a General Immersion Day. We are going to run the basic modules, specifically compute, Amazon EC2. And in today's session, I'm going to cover EC2 Linux hands-on lab. So we have Windows hands-on lab, auto-scaling on AWS, and I just decided to, let's go ahead and use EC2 Linux hands-on lab. So here you can see the high-level architecture, what it is, what we're going to cover. As Ashish was covering already, that you can use the default VPC, which will create route tables, security groups, etc., etc. That's what I'm going to do today. So I'm not going to create a new VPC and the security groups, the route tables, etc. But it is purely for testing purposes. So please be mindful when you are using the default VPC for your production environment or for the environment where you actually need to be careful and not to give access to the internet. For those use cases, we do highly recommend you to create your own VPC, assign the route tables, the security groups, NACLs, internet gateway, whatever you think is appropriate for your workload. So this workshop, this architecture is purely for testing purposes and purely for learning purposes. So we can see, for example, for me, when I start learning something, I don't want to go ahead and try all the single details one by one, because I will get really confused and I will forget what I was actually learning. What was the whole purpose of this mess? Okay, so that's why we're using default VPC. So everything will be already created so we can focus on the main purpose of this workshop. All right, we are using public subnets as well, and we will place our EC2 Linux instance on a public subnet. Again, this is for testing purposes. If you are planning to use for production, be mindful what you're putting in a public subnet. For example, if you're having a database instances that are running on EC2 instance, then we do recommend to put your database instance on a private subnet. So it is secure, so all the data in your database is not accessible from the internet. There are some ways of doing it. It's not the whole purpose of today's workshop, but just saying that be mindful what you put in public subnet, what you put in private subnet, and how you make sure that it is completely secure. In this case, again, public subnet, default VPC, we have internet gateway, which we will have access to the internet. So the first thing first, we are going to create, so when we create an EC2 instance, we will need to have a key pair. So the key pair will help us to access our EC2 instance using SSH or another another part can be also using Session Manager, which is on the left. You can see that is an optional, but I'm happy to walk through and show you how you can connect to your EC2 instance using Session Manager. This is my kind of favorite connection method, because I don't have to go to my terminal, type things, and then try to connect. Rather, I do prefer, when I work on AWS console, everything in one place. Basically, I assign IAM permissions, roles, and then I run my workload on EC2 instance. And then if I need to connect and see what is happening in the background, then I can use Session Manager. This is my personal preference. You don't have to do that, but it's a good way to know that there are other options to connect as well. So we will need to, first step, we will need to sign into AWS Management Console, and then we will click on the left-hand side in the network and security bit for key pairs, and then we will go ahead and create a new SSH key pair. We will give it a fancy name. We will create the key file format in .pem. Then we will click on a next, and we will go ahead and launch a web server. Let's go ahead. So before the session, of course, as someone, myself, who is sometimes freaking out that my demo is not going to work live, something will go wrong, something maybe is not working, maybe there is a bug in the workshop, I don't know. Anything can happen. Technology can fail all the time, right? So I was testing yesterday, just before the session, and to be prepared for the session, that everything is working and everything is fine. So I went ahead, I created an instance, I created, like, basically walked through the workshop, and it is all working. But I'm happy to create them all over again, and to see together on the call, together with you all, to see how it is actually working. So let's see what is the first step here. I know I just walked through, but I still forgot. Key pairs. All right. So in the network and security, we go to key pairs on the left-hand side. I am running my workload in North Virginia, in AWS account. I guess I have a bunch of other instances running in other regions, specifically in Europe. So I just decided to run in North Virginia, where it is nice and tidy, so I can see one list instance that is relevant to our session. So we go to key pairs. As you see here, I created one yesterday, but I'm happy to create one again with everyone on the call, so just to make sure that I'm not naming them the same. I can do Bessa Twitch, I can do Bessa Program 2. So I know that it is a second key pair that I'm creating and not confusing myself. So what we're doing here, we are creating a key pair, so we are able to access our EC2 instance using SSH method. Please, when you create your key pair, make sure that you are saving it in a safe place, in a safe folder locally, if that's your method of doing it. So in my case, I'm not sure if you see on the screen that it will be saved in downloads. Yes, show all downloads. I don't want to show all downloads, but once I create, it will be saved in that directory. However, my recommendation, do not keep it there. Like, it is not safe. Again, because it's for training purposes, we're just testing. I am not taking into consideration the security as a #1 priority for this workshop, but for you, for the future, as a knowledge, please save it in a safe location in your local machine. So this is the key pair that we just created. We see that it was created successfully. Now we are going to instances. So to launch an instance, we are going to hit the launch an instance button. We can move to the next session here. So in the EC2 dashboard, so if you haven't created any instances, you will see the screen something like this. You will launch an instance, and we will give a name. So let's name it Besa program 2. You can name it anything you want. Thanks to my awesome colleague Ashish, who already covered all the single bits of this quick start Amazon machine image that I don't have to cover. And I was at some point freaking out that, okay, Ashish, you did all the work. So what I'm going to do? So it's cool that I don't have to explain you all the single bits. So for this workshop, as I said, we will use Amazon Linux, and we will use Amazon Linux AMI. We will keep all the let's say sections and required required architecture and variables as default. So we're not going to change anything, and we are going to move to instance type. In this case, I will use tier 2 T2 micro, which is a free tier eligible. That's what I also did before joining AWS, just testing things and seeing how does it actually work. So on the next session, we see here key pair login, which is key pair name required. So if you haven't done in the first step, but you just joined the session, or you just kind of rushed and thought, oh, I will just first create an EC2 instance, maybe then I will create a key pair login, which you can do by clicking this button, and it will take you to a place where you can actually go ahead and create your key pair. So here we see that there are 2 key pairs that I've created. One Besa Twitch that I did yesterday, and then the one that we did today together, which is Besa program 2. And then for the next session, we see the network settings. Again, in the network settings, as Ashish already in a detailed view covered, that you can create security groups, you can select existing security group. So if you are using a VPC that you created, it is, so you already know what are the security groups, route tables, etc., etc. So you can go ahead and select existing security groups that you already have. You can tweak around if you want to allow HTTPS traffic from the internet, or if you want to allow HTTP traffic from the internet. So in this case, I'm just going ahead to hit the edit button just to show you that this is a VPC which is default, and this is another VPC, probably God knows when I have created and left it as it is. So I'm just going to use the default VPC as we see here, and just to check it with the workshop in parallel that I'm doing things in a correct way. Okay, so click the edit button. That's what we're doing. It says no preferences. Yes, that's what we're going to do as well. It also explains VPC that is required default. In the workshop, they are indeed choosing a subnet, the preferred subnet that they want. Good for them. I don't have any preferences, to be honest. Whichever subnet my EC2 instance will be created, I'm quite happy with that. The security group will be, it will create a new one, and then the description, and then the security group rule. Cool. Yeah, so let's go ahead and see. So we are editing our network settings. So we are in the VPC. So VPC default, what will be subnet? Subnet, as I said, I have a bunch of subnets here, but I am not fussy at this time, and I will leave it as it is, and I don't have any preferences. Auto-assign public IP, yes, I do want AWS to auto-assign public IP. That is the reason I will keep it enabled. Firewall, if I do select existing security groups, as you see here, I did create Besa Twitch security group yesterday. I can attach it here, or I can just create a new security group. So it is really handy and comfortable instead of you going back and forth. Previously in the EC2 console, as far as I remember, like 2-3 years ago, we didn't have an option to immediately in-house to create a security group before you hit the launch EC2 instance. So it is now here, which is really awesome. I love it. So we can now create a security group name, BESA program 2, and then this is a security group for BESA program. We just gave the description, which is again, now it is required, which is cool, because previously when it was not required, I personally was always skipping that part, that, okay, who cares about the description? And then at the end of the couple of months, I have a bunch of security groups created, and I have no clue what this security group is, what for I created in a couple of months ago. And it was such a mess, to be honest. And I was confusing myself by having a bunch of security groups names. I was just giving test 1, test 2. I wasn't very creative on that side as well. And I wasn't giving description either. I was thinking, hey, it's just for testing purposes. And at the end, I was having a bunch of them, confusing myself. Don't do it. And I'm glad that the service team just added this one, that it is required. So you better write it for what is the reason you're creating it. Cool. So for the security group rule number 1, we are going to allow SSH rule, and then I don't want to do anywhere. I do want to do from my VPC. Apologies, from my IP. So to keep it more or less secure, because you will see the elastic IP address attached or assigned to my EC2 because it is live, and any of you can go and access it. I don't want that for security purposes. I don't want you, because for that you can also give like a footprint to access my key pairs that I just created. So I don't want that. So more or less, I'm sometimes conscious about the security for testing purposes as well. So here I'm giving access for SSH. I'm giving the source type my IP, and I also want to give set a rule for HTTP. HTTP, and the source type again will be my IP. I'm just gonna double check with the general emergent day to see if I'm on the right track, which seems to be right. So advanced details, okay. So once we created the security rules, we are going to see the configure storage. To be honest, I won't be bothered with the storage. I will keep it as it is. In the advanced details, it is, you can see, you can request the spot instances, you can assign the IAM profiles. I'm not going to do any of this, but what I want to do instead, here somewhere, sorry for scrolling too fast, I know it's annoying. So in the user data, which says optional, we are going to copy and paste this bit of information, which will launch a web server for us. So let me just copy paste, and I will quickly walk through what is that thingy doing. Okay, so here it will install automatically LAMP stack. It will start the web server. It will also install the web page for our lab. It will also install the AWS SDK for PHP, and it will update existing packages as well. So instead of us doing it all manually, we can just copy paste, and as soon as we launch the instance, it will be doing it in the background. Summary, it will show us number of instances, correct? We just want one, and then it shows us the AMI, the instance type, firewall, security group that we create, the new security group, and then storage volume, and then I will happily launch the instance. While my instance is launching, let's see what is going to happen next. So we can go and see, click the View Instances button, and then in the lower right-hand portion, we will see the EC2 instances, and then we will see that the public IPv4 for DNS name is assigned. And then we will click on open the address, and we should see a page something like this. So I will give you a quick heads up. Yesterday, when I was walking through the workshop and following the steps one by one, I saw that I'm not seeing this web page that I should be seeing. I was quite concerned, like, why it's not working. And then I saw the notes. So I'm one of those people who are respectfully neglecting all these notes here, which says if you are using the Chrome web browser, which I was using Chrome web browser, and you attach public IPv4 value to the web browser, if it doesn't run, which was my case, HTTPS may be automatically added in front of the DNS value, which was the case indeed. So what I did is that just deleted this S bit, and then my website was up and running. So if you are like me, just walking through the main parts and just kind of ignoring these notes and pop-ups, this may be the case that you are not able to see on your browser. Cool. Let's have a look. So it says successfully instance is launched. So what we're going to see here, I have two instances. One I launched yesterday, one is today. This one specifically, BESA Program 2, that we just did it. Instance type, it says running. Status checks passed. I didn't set any alarm status. And it says the availability zone, that the also public IPv4 address DNS is being assigned as well. I don't have any monitoring enabled, so we have security group names we see here, key names as well, and launch time. So once I selected the BESA Program 2 instance, I can see that the public IPv4 DNS has been assigned. Again, I was thinking that, oh, it's quite handy, open the address and then it takes you to a new tab, but again, it was lagging, probably because it was again assigning me to access that web page for HTTPS, which I didn't give permission in advance. So what I'm going to do is to run it for HTTP. So we can see here, I'm not sure, okay, I can move it around. So we can see here that as soon as I click the open address, it generally, that's what I'm thinking here in Firefox, it takes me to HTTPS. Here, it says that it's not secure, makes sense, but the web page is up and running, it's all working, and we were able to successfully launch our web page in a matter of minutes. Of course, that data bit that we added in the additional details, absolutely flexible, so you can change it, you can rewrite it, you can remove, and you can basically do whatever you want. But for these testing purposes, it was just a simple example on how you can do it in a matter of minutes. So cool. Let's see what is the next step. Cool. It says, I love when I see in the workshop that great job, you have deployed a server. And I was like, yeah, I'm cool, I know it. Next, we can connect to our Linux instance using Session Manager, which is optional. Okay, now I just noticed that we are 5 minutes over time, and I see some people are dropping. Let me quickly connect to your Linux instance using SSH, and then I promised to Stanislav on the chat that he was experiencing an error that I was experiencing yesterday and how I was able to fix it. So I'm going to cover SSH into Linux instance now, and then I can cover whoever is interested can stay, and I will cover the session manager bit, and then it will be basically end of our session. No worries, Stanislav, it's my pleasure. All right, so it says here in the EC2 instance console, you can select the connect bit. Okay, let's go ahead. So this is our EC2 instance that we just created, and hitting the connect button. Here we will see a couple of options when we kind of connect. What are the options? We see the session manager. So This is really lovely that we create the new one, and it says like, you will not be able to connect your instance using Session Manager because you don't have IAM instance profile. For that, you need to set this and that, which is explained in General Immersion workshop. I followed step by step, and I can show you how we can do it in a matter of minutes. So nonetheless, SSH client. So it says open an SSH client, locate your private key file, run this and these commands, and it should work ideally, right? Let me quickly open my terminal. So you can see here my terminal. Hopefully it is seen. So what I was doing yesterday, what it says here, let me just move it around. It says example, it should look like this, and it is really handy to just copy the command and just paste it here, right? If I do yes, I do want to proceed, whatever it is. It says permission denied. And I think it was the same error that Stanislav was asking in the chat. That, and to be honest, I was thinking as well, hey, why permission is denied? I'm the admin. I'm the one who created. This is my laptop. This is my directory. And it was like, bang, it is a directory. So where is my key pair located? It is in downloads. Okay. So my key pair is in downloads. That I know, that I mentioned at the beginning, that please do not leave your key pairs in downloads because it is not secure, it is not safe. And but for the testing purposes, it was downloaded to downloads, and then it was I didn't move it. I was like, okay, fine, and we will just carry on. So for that, now, since my key pair is in downloads, oops, I don't know why it is showing this. Oh, okay, give me a second. I'll quickly delete this, and then I'll run the command again, which is SSHI, this one, right? Correct. And then it should ideally, I will run it again. It should ideally connect. It is not connecting.
Maybe the chmod command required on the third tab.
This, I think this one. No. This one I was running.
Okay. Yeah.
Give me a second. I will run it. You're right, Ashish. chmod 400. BESA, which is basically explaining in the an instruction here with C, PEM. I'm in downloads. Okay. Oh, I forgot number 2. Is it correct now? Yes. I know I can copy paste, but I'm too nervous. All right. Now, let's see. Oh, goodness, what did I do? Okay, let me just, okay, it was somewhere here. Yes, we were able to access and connect to our EC2 instance, which is a victory. Yeah, and I see someone in the chat. I just saw, because again, it's on my left-hand side, Ranga668 saying chmod command to be run was the key in directory. Correct, thank you. I respectfully ignore that bit as well. Yeah, so once we did it, it is able to connect. So you can see here that the EC2 user at IP, and which is saying my IP address, the EC2 IP address. So we are in the instance, and whatever you need to do from your instance, you will be able to connect. I can see Stanislav is messaging in the chat that I repeated all of your steps and luckily connected. But yesterday I did the same from my downloads folder and wasn't able to do that. Thank you for the explanation. No worries at all. That's why we're here. That's why our sessions are running. And I love that Stanislav was able to bring it up on the chat and we were able to quickly actually cover it on the session live. So I do encourage you all, if you are doing something similar, taking away from our sessions, running on your site, having some issues, and you know that you tried X, Y, Z, it's still not working, it's super helpful for all of us to cover, to understand, and to see what we can do all together. So I'm glad that we were able to connect to our instance using SSH client. For session manager, if we go ahead, of course, my session is expired. Give me a second. It is authenticating me from my console. Cool. So if we go to our instances, BESA program, and if I want to connect, yes, here we will see that the session manager part says that it is not, we are not able to connect because there are some steps you need to basically perform. So for here, that's what we did here as well. And then, okay, we were connecting. Oops, it was here. So you see that the roles, you need to go to IAM console. You need to find the role and assign that role. And then once you have that role, see, like here, it basically explains everything. That's what I did yesterday, following step by step what is explained here. And I was able to connect. So let me just quickly show you how it's going to look like. Like this one I created yesterday, session manager. So once you figure out the IAM role and then attach to the instance, I can do it as well, but I will just quickly show you the end result. So the session manager, you connect to your instance. Okay, so we hit the connect button, and now magic should happen. Okay. So yeah, we are now in our instance. So it says that the session ID is this is the instance ID, and this is basically what is happening. And I don't know what I can write. My favorite one, sudo give the root access, which is not safe and secure at all. So do not repeat it for your production environment at all. But yeah, just show you that it is in my instance and it is in the root. It is in the root access as well. So this was the systems manager, session manager. So we were able to connect using session manager and SSH client. I don't know, do you guys all want me to cover the IAM role as in the workshop, or will you be comfortable enough to go ahead by yourself, seeing how it works? I don't mind to show you in 2 minutes how it works, but I want to be, I want to kind of follow what you guys, everyone wants on the call. I do have time, of course. Sure. Can you cover the IAM role? Of course. Go ahead, please. Sure. Nice. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and cover. So this is the workshop. Again, you can do it yourself as well. It is fairly straightforward. And I'd like to perform the same on our, if time permits. Thank you. No worries. So, okay, we are going to IAM, which is Identity Access Management tool and service. So here, okay, so I'm gonna respectfully ignore what it recommends me for security. I probably messed up something somewhere, but that's not the whole purpose. So I'm going to roles. In the roles, so you see here, in the roles, we will need to create a new role. And then we will do for EC2. Okay, let's go ahead and create. So roles, we will create a new role. So when you create a new role, it gives you a couple of like trusted entity type. Like what is the role about? Is it for AWS account, for example? If you want your production account to be able to access XYZ, or is it for AWS service specific? Is it SAML 2.0 federation? So there are like, or custom trust policy. So there are like several entity types. In this time, because I'm creating a role for EC2 instance, not a user specific, but just for the instance by itself, I'm going to have AWS service like an EC2. Yes. So common use case EC2. Correct. That's what I'm going to do. You can use case for other AWS services. Like if we click on EC2, it will tell me what exactly you are trying to do. Like, is it for open source service, Amazon Grafana, batch, bracket, etc., etc. I'm gonna leave it. Won't be bothered, to be honest. I will just hit the next button, and here, permission policies. Let's see in general if we are on the right track. Yes, so in the permission policies, it says Amazon SSM managed instance core. We need to attach that permission to the role that we're creating, right? Oops, this is my session manager. I can close. So what was it? Amazon SSM managed instance core. Okay. So I was quite lazy yesterday and I was just typing SSM and I didn't see anything here popping up. I was questioned, like, why it's not popping up? What is happening? Do I really need to write Amazon SSM blah blah blah? To be honest, you can even just run SSM and then hit the search button and it will give you roles. So it is basically showing you as a tag. And you can even run Amazon SSM, SSM, and it will use as a tag as well. So it is not as a normal search feature that we're used to see. Like if I'm writing something here and it will show me. So this is a product feature that I didn't know, to be honest. Like I didn't pay attention. So here we need to just find Amazon SSM managed instance core policy name. So here you can expand and see what that policy is actually doing, and kind of walk through and see, okay, you will be able to the effect allow, you will be able to get deployable patch snapshot, for instance, list associations, I don't know, update associations status. Here it is also allowed creating control channel. It is also allowed EC2 messages, etc., etc. So we selected this policy name, right? And then we hit the next. I don't want to set any permissions boundary. Again, it will get quite complicated and messy. So I'm just gonna keep it simple and follow the workshop. So role details. What was the name we created? Besa maximum. Okay, Besa. Okay, I'm allowed to use hyphen Besa program 2. Role name, description. You can leave it. Allows EC2 instance to call AWS services on your behalf. This is the select trusted entities. You can, if you want to go ahead like extra step, you can add here the account ID specifically, like who can access as well. But again, we're just gonna keep it simple just to understand how to be able to access SSM managed instance core and connect to our EC2 instance. So we're going to hit the create role button. Something went wrong? No, maybe. Okay, it says it's creating, but to be honest, I was expecting that it will take me. Okay, it took me already. Okay, I'm a little bit impatient today. So role Besa program 2 created. Let's go ahead and see if it is the same in our workshop. Hopefully it is. Okay, so now we need to go to our EC2 instance. EC2, right? So instance running, we are going to our BESA program, and what we are doing is we're going to actions, we're going to security, and we're going to modify IAM role. And here we're going to attach the role that we just created, BESA program 2. And then we're going to update the IAM role. Once we did that, now hopefully we go to BESA program. Okay. Maybe it needs some time to be attached.
Yes,
Right.
sometime it takes little time, Jamila. So
Yeah, probably.
maybe little bit like that agent would be contacting SSM backend, and then probably it would start showing. So yeah, probably a little bit.
All right, all right. I'm quite impatient today, so yeah. So basically, yeah. Let's check with the workshop. It goes to actions. It should go to security. Yeah, modify IAM role, and then you basically attach the IAM role that you just created. And then you will be able to hit the connect, and then session manager will be showing nicely, and then you will be able to hit the connect button, and it will work as expected. And it shows here that if you are not able to connect, you need to perform some of the steps like IAM instance profile, etc., etc. Okay, let me try again. There's a program connect. It's not showing for some reason. Maybe I did connect for something else. Security, modify IAM role. Was it actually that one? Okay, if I do SSM instance, yeah, probably something is going on in the backend that I'm not sure, because I've created 2 instances, and one I created yesterday, and I checked with my web server for BESA, the one that we just connected, and it was working. For some reason, the one that I created now, the instance specifically, doesn't want to connect. Probably, yeah, it might take a couple of minutes, because I'm impatient because we're running out of time. But this was basically the workshop. If you go through it, it will work, should work, ideally. What we also recommend at the end of your workshop, please do clean up your resources. Go ahead and terminate your instances if you don't have anything there specifically. Just hit the terminate button. Let me do this one maybe. Oops, this one. Just terminate your instance. It will tell you that EBS backed instance will be deleted. On an EBS backed instance, the default action is for the root EBS volume to be deleted when the instance is terminated. And if you have any data in your local storage for EC2 instance, it will be ephemeral. It will be deleted as well. So if I hit the terminate, it will be terminating the instance. So you are not charged unnecessarily. I hope the session was interesting. Again, I'm not sure what has happened in the backend, why it wasn't connecting to my to the SSM, but rest assured, it was working yesterday, and I followed the General Immersion Day workshop as well. So technology is failing sometimes, which is
Yeah, means it's just matter of time. It would come up, so that's
Yeah.
okay, completely fine. Yeah, it will come up. No worries on that.
Cool.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Jamila. It was interesting. And Prasad is also here with us. And what Jamila covered is good for basics. So, like if you're just starting up and you do not know EC2 and how it works and how it connects and all, so then that is a good workshop. And I hope most of people are from that. But we have a couple of people who are also coming from background of advanced stuff, and that's why Prasad thought, hey, though we are late, but it's better to cover a bit of advanced stuff also so that everyone can benefit from it. So he would just quickly share some of the information on someone who is on advanced and they already know about EC2. They want to build something better once they have finalized the basics. So welcome, Prasad. Happy to have you here. How was your run? I guess you went for a run. You are on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, run was really good, and that's why I was late today. And anyways, Jamila was covering the entire demo part of it. But I thought, let's, Jamila covered all the basic stuff. And in case if you want to, provision one EC2 instance, Jamila showed how to do that. But let's say if you want to provision like tens of EC2 instances in one go, or if you want to, do some different things, like instead of using the default EC2 image, if you want to like kind of create your own custom AMI, right? How would you do that? Right, a
Now,
bit more
one
on that.
disclaimer I want to make here for people, like, we appreciate you taking so much time and we really want to share so much stuff, but we have limited time. So if you want to drop off, we won't mind. You may have your own stuff to do on weekends, so feel free. But yeah, means if you could stay, why not? But if you want to drop off, that's completely fine. We are way over limit, but we want to share as much as we can. So feel free to drop off and you can watch recording afterward. Over to you, Prasad, back.
Yeah, exactly. I know we are over time, so feel free to drop off, and we'll quickly. I'll not take much time, 5 to 10 minutes max. I'll cover it off, and then you can anyways watch the recording. I'll just show, like in case if you want to do advanced workshops, how you can do it. Let me share my screen. I already shared my screen. Yeah, thanks, Ashish, for putting on the screen. So, go to the normal EC2 workshops, our website, and then search for workshops at AWS and search for EC2. And then you will be seeing few workshops here. The two that will be important will be EC2 Spot workshops and EC2 Image Builder workshop. So let's go through them one by one. So for example, EC2 Spot workshop, this is the one, EC2 Spot workshop. Here, if you want to launch Spot instances, you will be able to do that. It has all the steps of how you can launch the Spot instances. But what's more interesting is that if you want to, for example, this launching EC2 Spot instances via EC2 Fleet. So you have seen how you can launch one instance at a time. But if you want to, provision more instances at one go, you can use EC2 Fleet. If you see here what exactly EC2 Fleet is, EC2 Fleet contains the configuration information to launch a fleet or a group of instances. So in a single API call, you can launch multiple instances and types across multiple availability zones. And you'll be able to provide them that how many on-demand instances you would like, how many Spot instances you would like. So if you want to have hands-on experience on those, try and do these launching EC2 instances. It provides you all the different kinds of way you can launch it, like how you can create a launch template, how you can use auto-scaling group. And then this one is really interesting, creating a spot in like Ashish mentioned, right? Like why the Spot instance is used. And let's say, there is a moment when the Spot instance is taken away from you. How would you like to test that? So you can use this particular lab to actually test that. And you have running a workload. Let's say you have 2 on demand and 5 Spot instances, and you're saving costs. But the price change, and your Spot instances are taken away. Then how your application is going to behave? And you can use that, initiate interruption to kind of simulate it. So we have something called AWS Fault Injection Simulator, through which you will be able to inject faults and test the resilience of your application. And we have Spot blueprints. So through the blueprints, you would be able to kind of create what kind of Spot instances you would like to use. And they are more advanced. So this is like a 400 level workshop. It's like a very advanced workshop. If you want to go deep and deep, you will be able to use Spots with container, and then like ML model training, and then like creating CI/CD pipelines and all of that, if you want to do it at scale. The second workshop that I would like to talk to you about is EC2 Image Builder workshop, how you can build your own images and then go from there. So if I click here, again, this is, like I would say advanced workshop. It'll take around 2 hours to do it. And this workshop tells how you can, so we have seen how you to instantiate Linux instances, but this tells you how you can, like do Windows instances and at scale. In the module 1, it will tell you how to build a EC2 image on your own, and then distribute and deploy secure images. Then use AWS Systems Manager to automate the patching. So like any security patches that come up, how you can do it. If you have, let's say, thousands of images, instances, then you'll not be doing it one by one for all of them, right? So how you can use Systems Managers to manage them at scale. And this really is helpful for your AWS SysOps certification in case if you're planning that. and then how to monitor, and so on and so forth. So go through these workshops. These are a bit advanced, and you can do them in your own lab. So you may skip this section if you are planned to use in your own account. So this is only if you're using a hosted account. If not, you can skip this section and start from building golden images using EC2 Image Builder, and it takes you in depth about how you can do that. And these are the ways, like when you will be actually managing it in your companies, or the role that you would be in. These are the way that you'll be doing it instead of doing it manually. Manually is something that you should be knowing how to do it, to know the basics. But once you actually do it, you will be doing it via the pipelines, via the IAC. So, and this particular section goes you all through that. So like how you are going to build this whole pipeline, right? And then how are you going to use the IAC to actually do all of that? IAC is infrastructure as code. That's pretty much, I'll not take much time, just quick things. I wanted to just let you guys know that if you want to do some advanced stuff, feel free. And here are the links to both the workshops. And as I said, you can always find these workshops from the workshops.aws site directly. Just you can search for it.
And we will be keeping these links in the resources page. So anyone wants to refer it again, or people who are watching YouTube, they can always refer to it. So yeah, we will put that. And be mindful of the cost. We don't want you to pay unnecessary. So just use the resources when you need it, and then remove it once you are not needing them. So hopefully, and even if you're like getting few dollars, I would say let's set a budget. Let's say $5. Hey, I am okay to spend $5 on AWS to learn things. $5 is not something very big for most of us, so probably should be okay. But yeah, keep that budget in mind and be mindful of cost. Okay, good. Anything else, Prasad? Anything else?
That's pretty much, someone asked MSK Lab. I did share it, but in case if you want to have specific service, go here and just like I search for MSK, and it gave me MSK Labs. So
MSK is managed service for Kafka. So it's a little advanced stuff, but yes, better like if you have something like this, go ahead and use MSK. There are lots of workshops available. These advanced workshop may have cost, may not always use the free resources. So be mindful of that.
Yeah.
Or you can become a community builder and get an AWS credit. That's a good thing. Why not? That's a good idea, Asna, right? Yeah, that's a good thing.
In fact, a lot of BESA team members are becoming community builders. Like I started getting messages today morning on LinkedIn that got selected as a community builder. So that is really good. So we encourage everyone, like whoever participating, share your knowledge through creating few Medium articles, creating some videos or blogs, right? And then when the next cycle you will the community builder will be open, apply for it. The only requirement is that you are actually building in community and sharing your knowledge, and then you can become a community builder, and then you'll have access to resources, credits, expertise from AWS, and that really helps folks.
Good, thank you. So I hope everyone has enjoyed and learned a lot of stuff. We encourage you to share your feedback. Speak about this program on LinkedIn or any other social media so more people can join in and get benefited. And if you have any ideas which we can implement to improve your learning experience, do not be hesitant in sharing it. We don't promise we would be able to implement everything or would be able to answer every question, but yeah, we will see. Obviously, there is a deliberate effort we put into it. We go through all the questions, we go through all the preparation work every week, and we try to give maximum as much as we can. And we thank you for your support, and hopefully you have enjoyed something. If you learned something, please share it on LinkedIn, let others know. And once the videos and recordings are available, put them into your profile. Why not? Thank you so much. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks, Prasad. Thanks, Jamila.
Bye. Thank you.
all.
Pleasure.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.